Hey everyone. So I'm going to take a little bit of time in this video to go over the course syllabus with you. I'm not going to cover every single part of the syllabus, but I do want to make sure that we hit the highlights of it, the really important sections of the syllabus, both so you know what to expect from the class, but also some of the important policies that are contained in the syllabus. And that way you can hear me explain the policies instead of just reading them. So that way, maybe they'll make a little more sense and you'll just have a better understanding of how important some of them are. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull the syllabus up here. Okay. So first page of the syllabus, let's see, important information there. Once again, here are how many hours you should expect from the class, 40 lecture hours, and an additional 20 hours of outside work. So remember that 60 hours total spread over 10 weeks, that averages out to about 6 hours per week that you should expect to spend on this class. All right, so again, I don't have any control over that. That is what the school has decided that this course should contain. If we were on campus, it would be 4 hours in the classroom with 2 hours of homework every week. We're online, so you have to do all 6 hours on your own throughout the week, but it's still 6 hours total every week, okay? Let's see, we have the book right here, that information. I'm going to show you a picture of it. It's probably going to be backwards, but you should see what it looks like. That one right there. So if you don't have a copy of the book yet, try to get one. It's not impossible to do the work in the class without the book, but the book just goes into more detailing, gives even more examples of every lesson that we cover throughout the term. My lessons do go along with the book. So, you're going to get the basics from my lessons, but if you need extra help, that textbook is a really good resource for you. Let's see what else we want to look at. Our objectives, they're pretty sparse for a composition course, but basically what you are supposed to learn throughout these 10 weeks is grammatical and mechanical errors in writing. So that's like, your sentence level errors, and we will be covering that. So writing more fluently, authentically, and academically, that's what we're going to be working on as well. Going through the stages of the writing process, so pre-writing and drafting, revising, we're going to do all of that, and need to know concepts for effective writing in the workplace. We're going to be focusing mostly on paragraph development for the first 6 weeks of the course, because most of you will not be writing really long things in your careers, in your jobs, but you will have to write smaller items like a paragraph, maybe in an email, maybe in a chart. We are going to get to essays in the last part of the course, just so you can, get an understanding of how to organize your ideas when you are writing something that's more than one paragraph. But we're going to focus on the basics of paragraph writing and different types of writing. Not only that you might encounter in the workplace, but just in other classes as well. So formally, we're going to cover evaluation and compare contrast, but through your journals and discussions, we will also kind of play around with process analysis, classification, reflective writing. So you'll get a little taste of all different types of rhetorical patterns, as they're called, throughout the course. And they're kind of the things that you would typically have to do at a job. You might have to write up something that explains a process, how to do something. You might need to compare and contrast, two ways of doing something, two methods of doing something, two treatments, right? To decide what the similarities are, what the differences are, or which one is better, right? So we only cover 2 of them formally, but we're going to dabble a little bit in several different types of writing that are kind of common in the workplace. Now, your boss isn't going to come to you and say, write a process analysis for this. they're going to say, can you write up the steps for how to do this? That's process analysis, right? So we're going to, get a little bit of familiarity with different types of writing. But it is a composition course. We're focused on basic composition skills here. Making sure you have a focused point, making sure you have good supporting examples, that you organize things logically, that you connect your ideas, and that you have as few grammar and mechanical errors as possible. That's the goal of this course, right? Let's see. Our grading scale, just remember that you need a 70% or higher to pass the class, right? Right here, you can see the distribution of grades, right? So our first category of grades are the discussions. You'll have one every week from weeks 1 through 9. They are worth 15% of your overall grade, and there's only 9 of them. So if you miss multiple discussions, it's going to affect your overall grade, right? So do your best to make sure that you are posting every week. And if you have to go into the second week of extra time, do so, because something's better than nothing, but you really want to do your best to try to be on time with those discussions every week. The next category are our assignments. Those are sort of like your smaller weekly assignments. They are not formally graded, right? They're graded based on effort. These include your journal every week and like the weekly assignments that will help you practice the skills learned in that week's lessons, right? So there's a journal and one assignment most weeks, and those total up to 20% of your overall grade. Then the next category here is a big one, your formal writing assignments. There's only 2 of them, 2 paragraphs, right? The first one will be an evaluation paragraph, and the second one will be a compare-contrast paragraph. We'll do those in the middle of the term, weeks 5 and 6. 1 paragraph each, 1 single paragraph for the evaluation paragraph, 1 single paragraph for the compare-contrast paragraph, and those 2 things combined are worth 40% of your grade. You cannot pass this class if you have a 0 on either one of them. You have to submit both of them. If you submit them and you aren't happy with your scores, you'll get a chance to revise them. And then the last item in our grading categories is the final exam. This is a composition course, so your final exam is actually an essay, a 5-paragraph essay based on the topic that you used for one of your paragraphs. You'll get to choose which one. So it's not a brand new topic. You'll take the same topic and just expand on your ideas to create a 5-paragraph essay. And that is worth 25% of your overall grade. That's a pretty big one too, right? Let's see here. Attendance policy, make sure you remember that you can't miss more than 2 weeks of class, right? Once you go more than 20% with absences, you're at risk for being withdrawn from the course. And that's not consecutive. That's 20% throughout the whole term. So if you are absent in week 2 and then you're absent in week 5, you've reached 20%. If you're absent again after week 5, you could get withdrawn from the course, right? So make sure you're remembering to trigger your attendance every week so that you don't have to worry about that, right? Let's see, some information there if you want to come back and read it on your own. Next section I'm going to take a quick look at is the course outline. This is just a really brief overview of what we'll be covering every week and what homework assignments will be assigned every week. This does not give you a lot of specifics. This is just an overview, but you can see what we'll be doing, in week 1, what items are assigned in week 1, right? They're always due Sunday. What we'll be covering in week 2, the assignments for week 2. This is not the best place for you to come back to for, detailed information, but it can be helpful to try to plan ahead because you can sort of look through and see when those big items are going to be assigned. For instance, the evaluation paragraph, that's writing assignment 1, the formal paragraph, that's in week 5. And then the second one, the compare contrast paragraph, is in week 6. right? Remember, those two things together, 40% of your grade. So you want to be mindful of that, thinking ahead and knowing that weeks 5 and 6, you're going to want to focus on those two things, right? We have some reminders here in yellow, the late work deadline, which we'll get to later, but it's here highlighted on the syllabus for you. And when the final exam essay will be due, right? Just so good things that you can look at to plan ahead. But if you really want more detailed information, you're going to want to look at the weekly announcement that has the agenda for each week. And if you're looking to know more specifics about a week that we haven't gotten to yet, that you don't have access to, reach out to me and I will let you know if you know anything specific that you would like to know about any given week. Okay. All right, let's see. Instructor policies. I think where I actually want to start is here with the late work policy, right? So it's best to assume that you can't turn anything in late, because if you operate under that mindset, then you're more likely to have everything turned in on time and not fall behind. Because it can be tough to catch up in a composition class when you start to fall behind. But obviously life happens and I try to be flexible and understanding. So I do typically accept late work. But there are some stipulations to that. So here is the late work policy for your normal weekly assignments, like the journal and the weekly assignment that goes with that week's lesson. If I agree to accept one of those assignments late, you'll have 1 week to turn it in and still get full credit. So it's due on Sunday night, right? If you turn it in before the following Sunday night, you'll still get full points for it. I don't mind. It's fine, right? Now, after that 1 week grace period, there will be a 10% reduction in points for every additional week it's late. Okay. No late work will be accepted past week 8. Week 9 is a busy week for you and me. Week 10 is a super busy week for you and me, and it's a short week. So no late work past week 8, right? Discussions. Discussions are due every Sunday night, but they will remain open for 1 extra week, right? Sorry, my phone's going off. Past that 1 week, you'll only get 50% points. So for instance, the week 1 discussion is due Sunday night. It will remain open during week 2. If you are late on posting to the week 1 discussion and you do it during week 2, you automatically can only get a high of 10 points on it, 10 out of 20. That's a 50% if you post to it late. But some points are better than none, 10's better than 0, right? So, even though it's a harsh deduction in points, don't let that stop you from posting late. Go ahead and do it in that second week that it's open if you need to. But it's really in your best interest to try to get those discussions done by Sunday night every week, right? If you're having to choose between assignments for this class, what you can get turned in on time, get the discussions done on time. Because the penalty for late work on the other assignments is not nearly as harsh, right? Got to be a little smart about, if you do have to pick and choose wisely, right? The writing assignment paragraphs, the 2 formal paragraphs from weeks 5 and 6 that are worth 40% of your grade. Writing assignment 1 evaluation paragraph, that's going to be due at the end of week 5. If you submit it by the end of week 6, no late points will be deducted. So you get a week grace period to turn in writing assignment 1. If you submit it after week 6, though, if you go past that 1 week grace period, then there will be a 10% reduction for every additional week it's late, just like the normal assignment policy. Same thing for the compare contrast paragraph. It will be due at the end of week 6, but if you get it turned in by the end of week 7, no points will be deducted for it being late. You get another week grace period. If you turn it in after week 7, then there will be a 10% reduction in points. And remember, they're worth 40% of your overall grade. You really don't want to be late on that. But here's the kicker. Both writing assignment paragraphs will have the option of revision. So whether you turn it in on time or late, if you are not happy with your score, you will be given a chance to revise it. You'll get feedback from me. I'll be typing it, like you'll be submitting the paragraphs in a file format, so either Word, PDF, Google Docs. You'll submit it in that file. I will take that file and download it to my computer and then go through your paragraph and type in the margin what needs to be worked on. And then I'll leave you feedback. I'll attach that to the Brightspace feedback. So when you get it, you can click on that file that I've attached to the feedback, and it will show you your paragraph with my comments and suggestions typed in. You can take that feedback and revise the paragraph and resubmit it for a higher grade. It's a great opportunity. Again, those are worth 40% of your overall grade. Okay. Everybody gets that option, whether you've submitted it on time or late. You still get to revise it if you want. If you did turn it in late and got points deducted for being late, but you choose to revise it, your new score for that revised version won't reflect any late points deducted at all. It will be like you turned it in on time. This is incentive to revise your writing, learn from your mistakes, and get a better grade. So hopefully everyone uses that opportunity to do so. Now, if you turn your paragraph in and you get an A on it the first time around, there's no need to revise. You're in good shape. Even if you get a B on it, you're probably still in good shape, right? But obviously, the better your grade is going into the final exam in week 10, the better off you will be, because there is no chance to revise the final exam essay in week 10. It is what it is. So the better your grade is going into that one, the more likely you are to pass the class and keep the grade you currently have, right? So just keep those in mind. The last thing about the writing assignment paragraphs and late work is that I will not accept either one of those writing assignment paragraphs or revisions on them after week 9, because once week 9 ends, there's only 4 days left of the term. Week 10 is only 4 days. So nothing, and I know that's tough because it's worth 40% of your grade. That's why it's important to make sure that you are sticking to these due dates as much as you can, because you don't want to get to the end of week 9 and realize that you either have a 0 on one of them or a really, really low grade on one of them, and you're at risk for failing the class, because then you can't submit them. It's too late. All right. If you ever have any questions about late work, if I will accept something, how many, what percentage of points are going to be deducted, refer back to this section of the syllabus, but also don't hesitate to reach out and ask me. All right. I know it can be a little confusing to, keep track of it all, even if you come back and look at this. But it is here in writing if you do need to refer back to it, but I'm always there to answer questions too. The next section that I want to focus on is this, the plagiarism policy. All right, so plagiarism. It is the intentional or accidental misrepresentation of someone else's work or research as your own. You turn something in that are not your own ideas or not your own words, and you don't give credit to the person whose ideas or words they actually are, right? It can show up in different forms. Obviously, plagiarism would include buying a paragraph or buying an essay from an internet site. It would include just finding a paragraph or an essay on the internet. Maybe you don't have to pay for it. And copying that and turning it in like you wrote. It could be copying a few sentences from something off the internet. It could be using the same ideas in the same order with the same examples, only you've changed the words a little bit. Everything in this class should be 100% your own ideas and your own words. Every discussion you do should be completely you. The prompts are such, they're personal. Everybody should have something to contribute, something to say in response to that discussion prompt. There are things like, what's your favorite movie? 3 reasons why your favorite movie is so good. What are your tips for studying for an exam? Talk about the similarities or differences between life growing up and life now as an adult. You guys will have personal reactions to those discussion prompts. There's no reason why anyone would need to go to the internet for help. None. Same thing with the journal every week. Those are also the same type of prompts, right? There should be no reason why you're going to the internet. All of the weekly assignments that go along with the lessons each week, a lot of those don't require writing a bunch of stuff. It's more like identifying, highlighting, underlining, things like that. So there definitely should not be a need to go to the internet for that. Your 2 writing assignment paragraphs, absolutely no internet, no outside sources whatsoever for those either. And again, the type of writing you'll be doing is personal. For instance, the evaluation paragraph, it could be a restaurant review. So it's a paragraph about your favorite restaurant and the 3 specific things that make it such a great place to eat. Your favorite video game and 3 specific reasons why it's such a great game to play. It's compare and contrast. Take 2 people in your life and talk about why your significant other is so much like one of your siblings, or how your partner is so much like one of your children, or how you and your mother are exactly alike or completely different. Your high school experience versus your college experience. The possibilities are limitless, and all of them are personal to you, right? Final exam essay is based off of one of those paragraphs, so you shouldn't be doing anything with outside sources for that either. Nothing in this course should come from outside sources in any way, shape, or form. I run assignments through plagiarism checkers, and I'm very good at finding plagiarized material. I will give you a 0. And depending on the assignment and where we are in the term, you will probably be given a chance to redo it and make it right. But if that's the final exam essay, you're kind of out of luck there. So that, again, I make everything in the class in such a way that you can draw upon your personal experiences to complete the assignments. Okay, the topics are not difficult. So resist the urge, right? Just do your own work. All right. Also worth noting is not just that plagiarism is a really big deal for me personally in this course, but it's a big deal for the school too. You can, depending on the severity of the plagiarism, you know, it can go in your record. You could get kicked out of school for it. So, you know, it's not just me that has this policy, it is the school's policy as well. Okay. The next section here is all about, you know, the different ways that you'll be evaluated, going back to those 4 grading categories. So the discussion forums, there'll be one each week. You want to try to have your first post up by Thursday night so that everyone has plenty of classmates to choose from, because you got to respond to 2 people by Sunday night, right? The discussion will stay open an extra week, remember, but if you post during that extra week, it's a 50% reduction in points. If you have to post, right, if you missed it during the live week and you're posting in that extra week grace period, go ahead and do it and still respond to 2 people, right? But just know that it'll be a 50% reduction in points, and they are worth 15% of your grade. Really in your best interest to make sure you're doing those on time every week. The assignments, they, like I said, those are the journals and the weekly assignments that go with the lessons. They're graded on effort. I will tell you how you did, right? So it's not like you just do it and then you don't, you know, you're graded on effort, so you get a 20 out of 20, but okay, was I right? Was I wrong? How did I do? You'll get the 20 out of 20, and I will tell you what you missed, right? I'll let you know where you missed the mark and what you might need to go back and review, that sort of thing, right? But I don't want those weekly assignments to be stressful. I don't want you to put a lot of pressure on yourself over them. I want you to try, because it's your chance to practice those skills. But I'm not going to penalize you if you get them wrong, right? I'm going to teach you what you got wrong and help you learn how to do it right, okay? And don't forget that the assignments are 20% of your grade, right? The writing assignment paragraphs, I think we've covered that already. Just, you know, just keep in mind, they are worth 40% of your grade. Also, I'm going to say this probably 100 times between weeks 5 and 6 when we get there. 1 single paragraph each. Writing assignment 1, evaluation paragraph. Writing assignment 2, compare, contrast, paragraph. All we will have learned about from weeks 1 through 6 is how to write a single standalone paragraph. So please, when we get to writing assignments 1 and 2, do not submit essays. Do not submit 3 paragraphs. Don't submit 2 paragraphs, right, on your topic. 1 single paragraph. If you turn in, you know, let's say you're doing your evaluation paragraph and you want to do a restaurant review on Chick-fil-A, and you turn in your paragraph and it's 2 paragraphs on about Chick-fil-A and why it's such a good place to eat, you'll get a 0 on it and you'll be told to redo it so that it's 1 single paragraph. If you turn in 3 paragraphs, you'll get a 0 and be told to redo it as 1 single paragraph. I can't emphasize this enough. It will save you and me a lot of time and frustration if you just keep it in your head, 1 single paragraph, right? We'll get to the essay at the end of the term, right? Writing assignment 1 and writing assignment 2, single paragraphs, and they're worth 40% of your grade. You want to make sure you do well on those paragraphs. Make sure you fully understand the type of paragraph each one is and how to approach it, how to organize it, right? But you do get a chance to revise one paragraph, please. And then the final exam essay, again, you'll be taking one of those paragraphs. So let's say you did your evaluation paragraph on Chick-fil-A and your compare contrast paragraph was high school versus college. For the final exam essay, you're going to choose one of those topics and expand on it. So you'll either write an evaluation essay on Chick-fil-A, or you'll write a compare contrast essay on high school versus college, right? 25% of your grade, no chance to revise that one. You will do an outline in week 9 to be ready to prepare yourself. And in fact, you have to submit that outline in week 9 and get my feedback on it to even have access to the final exam in week 10. So hopefully, we will get you in a place where you are ready to hop into that final exam essay, type that 5-paragraph thing up, and you are good to go because you already have that outline, that plan for yourself that I have approved. Right? But just keep that in mind, week 9, you're going to have to do that outline to access the final exam in week 10. But it'll be worth it because it will ensure that you do well on that final exam essay, which is worth 25% of your grade, right? Okay, that is about it. The last page here is the syllabus receipt. If we were on campus, you would sign this and hand it in. We're not on campus, so don't do anything with this. There will be an assignment in week 1, if you haven't already seen it, that asks you to state that you have, actually, it might, depending on which term this is, it'll either be an assignment that tells you to state that you've read the syllabus and acknowledge the policies, or it might be a quiz over the syllabus. We're changing to that. So just know that that might be a possibility as well. But either way, you don't have to worry about that form at the end of the syllabus. That's about it that I wanted to cover. That was the important stuff. And I know it was a good bit of stuff, but those are some pretty important policies and important things that you need to be aware of at the beginning, as soon as we get started, and to keep in mind as we progress through the term. Again, the syllabus is always here for you to come back to, but I am also here if you have any questions at any time about anything in the syllabus, right? But for now, you guys are free to go ahead and move on to the next item.